Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 10 scenarios. What if Negan dies? But that's not the only what if. So we're not going to say that it's definitely going to happen, but we are going to funnel it down. We're going to analyze some different scenarios, and a lot of these were suggested by you. Our Wednesday night stream, we asked the Patreons or we asked our Facebook fan page to get involved and give us some info, just some things that we want to talk about a little bit. So don't completely freak out yet and say, I'm going to quit watching. I'm not going to do any of those things. We've got a couple announcements I have to make, but before we get into it, because I know people, they're going to be interested about the packs and the cards, and we did some Facebook posts. But before we get started, let me give a special thank you. I got to tell you guys, our Patreon army up there on the screen, and I knew the packs were going to go fast. And our PDL sponsors and our mods are the best anywhere. I am just extremely fortunate to have such a strong group of supporters as we build this channel. So we got Amy getting a super pack right out of the gates. But hold on everybody, we can only do 3 because one of those is Emmy's from last night. So let me see if Emmy's in the stream, because I do have to save one for Emmy. So I've got, all right, let's stop. Okay, we got the order. Any additional super chats or stickers will be for later on. All right, so first and foremost, let me get this thing going. I got the order. We got Emmy from last night. So Emmy, you're going to have to get your pick in absolutely early here. And these are for the PDL game. If you're brand new watching our channel, you don't know what that is, you'll see the pack opening. We'll explain it in just a little bit. So Emmy, pick 1, 2, or 3, or 4. You got 4 options. We're doing pack openings from the start, and the other 3 are gone. I only want to do 3 tonight because we've been doing 3, and then we added 6. But, I want to keep some of the items fairly scarce so we don't fill up, like, everything that we're doing. So let's see if we can get Emmy, 1 to 4. Did she pick and I missed it already, or no? She's still doing the round. She's still saying hello to everybody. Everybody on the green team, give me a big Emmy real fast. Emmy? Come on now. Give us a pick. Oh, I think Emmy is typing without a headset. She has to be. She's not listening to, she can't be listening to the stream. All right, Emmy, pick 1 to 4. Last night when we did the pack openings, we did the bonus bags, and Emmy got a booster pack. Okay, there we go. Number 2, Emmy is picking number 2. There we go. Everybody give Emmy a yay. We can do this. Emmy, Will the Bill would absolutely die for that product. Will keeps missing, I put these things up there just for Will, and he misses out on them. Powdered charcoal. Anybody want to take a guess? And what do you think powdered charcoal could be used for? It's a very, very strong item. Let's see who gets it first. It is, well, actually, you can use it to have the whitest teeth in the world, for one. But it also, if you put a specific mixture together, you can use it for gunpowder. Many of you have asked, you've got weapons, but you've got no ammunition. So gunpowder. Emmy, guard that with your life. It is going to be very rare, and it is going to be something that some people are going to want to go after. So certainly a big item. E. Beach in the house, super chat, and it says, good evening, Army. Good to see you as well. Eric, thanks for popping in. We're going to get to our topic in 1 second. We got a couple more packs we got to open. So we got Amy, then Tammy, and then Trigger. And I know if there's dead dime somewhere, it's going to be Tammy. All right, Amy Bones Ferreira, you are up next. So let's get this pack opening going, and then I'll get the announcement, and then we'll get into our what-if scenarios tonight. All right, Amy's picking number 3. Is 3 a good number? What is it? It is something that Ron Burgundy Moore would probably be very interested in. Amy has quite a collection of weapons, I do have to tell you. This is a cross, but it is a weapon that is pretty dangerous. So Amy has a complete stockpile of weapons. It is a badass weapon, I do have to tell you. So Amy racking up with yet another. We're going to have to see. Amy's going to have this arsenal. She's got darts, 3 sets of riot gear, a lock-picking set. So there's some pretty good stuff there. And let's see. We got 2 more packs, and it was the Order, Tammy Heitzman, and then Trigger. So Tammy, give us a good number, Tammy. I knew it. I absolutely knew it. I don't know what it is. You are like a magnet. You are a magnet to dead dimes. 30 dead dimes. So if you guys saw the list that Kel put up there, Tammy has got like 4 times more dead dimes than anyone else. So the nice thing about that is you're going to be able to customize some gear. We're going to have to change Tammy to Tammy Dead Dimes Heitzman because you know what? I think we got something. I think Tammy Dimes. That is it. Tammy Dimes is definitely the most wealthy PDL player we have. So another great job, good pick, and the last pick of the night is going to Trigger. So Trigger. This is something Trigger can use. This is also something that would have been absolutely amazing for Emmy's character. These are warrior bracelets. They are absolutely ridiculous. So Trigger is rocking the first set of bracers that we have in game. So very good job with that. But they're lightweight enough. A sniper could use them. An archer could use them. But also a warrior could use them. And those of you tuning in that are like, hey, I know you guys do Walking Dead. We are in the off season. If you guys aren't familiar with Play Dead Live and the pack openings, show up on a Friday night. We do our Freestyle Friday. And we also, these items, the currency, the gear, all the mixtures are things that our characters will be able to put in play on a Friday night, and we're going to start officially on January 10th is our official rollout date. Everybody's going to start out at level 0, but the items that you have are going to be able to transfer over. So let me make that special announcement for everybody because I'm really pleased in the people that we picked. So it is a Play Dead Live announcement, and then after that we are going to get into the stream. So we have 7 official classes. We are not adding any more classes for some time. So when you play the game in January, you have to pick one of these 7 classes. So I want you to think about which class that you want to play. I just saw it, Ben. Ben is Amy looking like Rambo carrying all that. Ben, what's nice about that, not only is she the Rambo character, but she's a medic, and there's nothing wrong with hoarding some of these items in game because at some point you're going to be able to trade them for the things that you need, or you're going to be able to gear your party up if you're in a party. So certainly good super chat with that. So here we go, everybody, with this announcement. And I'm going to give you a person that represents each class. So when we do the guides, this person's avatar or this person's likeness, or this person is going to represent it. So when I give you the class, think about all the 12 scenarios we've done so far, and you're going to see what I mean by that. So the first class is the sniper class. And that is going to be represented visually by our very own Angel Trigger Caloris is going to represent the sniper class. So you will see a whole explanation of what snipers do before the game starts. If you want to be a sniper, if you want to be a ranged assassin, more or less, give Trigger a quick shout out because Angel is going to be representing the sniper class. Then, as I said with the bracers, I'm pretty excited about this one because I wanted to get some mod support. And you guys know we built a lot of the story around what Emmy's doing with the 999 group and how she'll set up the resources, the funds. The warrior class is going to be represented by Emmy. We've got very good visual art that I'm going to send over to Emmy to take a look at. So if that is approved, we will have an Emmy likeness as well. So Emmy is going to represent the warrior class. So if you want to play either one of those will be your go-to people. The cleric class is going to be represented by none other than Ron Burgundy Moore. Ron has played a great introductory character up to this point. So Father Ron will be kind of the first cleric that we've had. And I'm sure some of you other players will want to play a clergy class as well. But Ron is kind of what I visualize with doing that. The fourth class is an engineer. When you guys think engineer, I want you to kind of think MacGyver. So the engineering class is going to be able to take a lot of these resources, a lot of these items, and use their creativity in order to construct items. That's going to be our very own Will the Bill. Fireman Finney is the engineering class. You cannot have a game without a doctor. I mean, look, we've had Dr. Carson, we've had Denise, we've had Sadiq, we've had Enid. Doctors usually don't have a long life. Amy, but Amy Bones Ferreira is going to represent our medic class. So Amy's going to represent that. And then we do have to have a martial artist or a ninja. Our very own Mist is going to be the face of the franchise when it comes to martial arts and the ninja. And then from the tank class, your very own Man Bun, a.k.a. Tommy the Tank, is going to visually represent the tanking class. So those are your 7 classes to think about to choose from between now and January 10th when you play the game. So if you guys want to type in chat what you think you'll be playing when you get your character record sheets, let me see which character is natural for you. Sniper, warrior, cleric, engineer, medic, ninja, or tank. What would you guys play if we started the game right now and you were involved? So just want to get some ideas what the most popular classes are. Eric would be a tank. Julie, a couple clerics. Julie J. Crystal, a sniper. Sheila, a sniper. Rolex would be a tank. Jay Smart would be an engineer. Few more snipers. SpongeBob, a cleric. I like that, clerics are usually a class that don't get played very well, so I like the fact that we got several interested in playing that class. And I'm looking forward to how you guys handle it. And cleric does not mean always that you stand in the back and pray for everybody. I mean, you got to defend yourself. So, we're looking for some activity. Not many people have picked warriors. Interesting. I thought warrior would be a more popular class. All right, but hey, give it some thought, and let's move on to tonight's stream. We had very nice introductions, some good pack openings. Appreciate you guys for that. We're not going to make this an hour and a half to 2 hour stream. We have been running on fumes like all week long. I mean, we did a 4-hour stream on Friday night, and then Monday night with Mashup, that was a couple hours. Last night was a couple hours. So our streams have gone a little bit long, but a lot of it is because there's so much excitement and so much hype around Play Dead Live. We get into it, start talking about it, and then questions come up or pack openings, and I'm having a blast with it. But I've got a ton more information, but I could probably make this whole stream about Play Dead Live. But let's transition into the Walking Dead topic. So I'm going to save that one because I do have Kills Coins. These ideas were suggested by our viewers, by our Patreons, and I'm going to start, we'll do 4 of these and just kind of break them down a little bit. So Ron Burgundy Moore, Ron, we're going to give you a Kills Coin to start out because I loved your suggestion, and it would be very quick, and in Ron fashion, it was a little bit comical, but Ron's what-if scenario was, what if the helicopter crashed that Rick was in? And, I mean, certainly it would be a short story, and it would dispel all myths of Rick coming back to the show. But, you know, I want to approach it, Ron, from the perspective of look at all the stuff that would not have happened. With Michonne being out there looking for Rick, and then, you know, the Children of the Corn episode that she had, and all of the other events that went down. But 7 years, it would have been a lot different 7 years. And, as Hippo said, there would be no movie. Fluff the Flamethrower super chatting. Will the Bill and Fluff are meeting up in Orlando in January. By February, we will take over the world. I don't doubt that at all. I certainly, a Fluff, Will the Bill meetup is, I think there's going to be some trouble that's going to happen there, Fluff. And if Kel pops in, oh my goodness. January, huh? Orlando. Man, I wonder if I could make it to Orlando in January. Probably a little too soon. Heart of Nixie, he would survive. Oh, I love that. There you go. So, Ron, Heart of Nixie says if the helicopter would have crashed, it wouldn't matter because he would have survived the crash and Michonne would just picked him up in a boat. Great answer. That is the best answer to a what if. So, good job with that, Heart of Nixie. Kills, do me a favor. Let's give Heart of Nixie a Kills coin just for that very clever response. So we got Ron and we got Heart of Nixie. So I do want to give another Kills coin. Number 3 on the list for what if scenarios. And I absolutely love this one. Deborah Cox asked this question. What if our group would have stayed at Herschel's farm? So it got me thinking a little bit. Why did they leave Herschel's farm? I know the answer. But exactly. There was a herd, got overran. So, too many walkers. So I think the gist of it was that they got overran by walkers and they just leave. And then if the prison gets overrun, they leave and they leave and they leave. So was there so many walkers at Herschel's farm that they couldn't have just left a little bit? Exactly. Robin Vance, that's the point. Is there so many that they couldn't have just kind of circled around? And I mean, this is what I would like to see. All right, they're all chasing you. You go north, and you circle around east, and then you get back south, and then you stab them all in the back and kill them all. Because they're not going in Herschel's house and sitting down having tea. I mean, they're going to keep overrunning you. So why not rebuild it? And we've seen how many walkers that they were able to kill in Alexandria. I mean, look, I know it's like probably 8 years, 9 years later, and they've gotten a lot more experience. So, maybe the answer to that is they were just scared of walkers a little bit more, and then they kind of toughened up. Do you guys think that's a more viable explanation? Like, now they're immune to it. There you go, Crystal. So they were newbies to the zombie apocalypse, but now it's like, okay, we'll just kill them and you're not taking our house. And, I don't want to, I know we could easily go this route and say, we're going to watch Walking Dead from episode number 1 and watch it all the way through. I can't do that because I'll tell you, there's this after the fact thinking mentality. I'm not going to get too far into it, but because I know it'll open a can of worms that I don't want to open on this stream. But there's a certain method that, for example, if we use today's values on something that happened 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, it's difficult, right? Without giving specific examples, I'm going to be very vague and generic intentionally. But it's hard to say that the standards of today would work 1,000 years ago. Some things it would, don't get me wrong, but some things it would not. And it's kind of unfair to use today's standards to judge everything. I mean, I'll just give you a real stupid example because I just feel like being stupid today. So in a lot of states, and I'm not asking your opinion on this because we're going to get some people that are pro-weed, some people are anti-weed. Whatever you do in your spare time, completely up to you. I don't judge anybody. But, for example, let's say a person who is arrested with possession of weed. Now in some places it's like a $10 fine or a misdemeanor or something. But 10, 15, 20 years ago, you might have ended up in jail. 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. There's probably people in jail for that, I'm sure. And then the question would be, were they lawbreakers or were they were they great minds that were ahead of their time that knew it was going to be legal at some point? And I'm being completely facetious with that example. But that's the type of example that I'm talking about. Yeah, something might have been illegal then, but does the punishment always fit the crime? And where I'm going with this, you guys are like, oh my God, get to the point, you're going to ramble. My point is, if I go back and I watch The Walking Dead, I don't want to ask questions like, why did the walkers run full speed? Or why did they move from place to place? Because it's going to be easy for us to look at it and try to justify it based on how they conduct themselves now. And I don't think that's a fair comparison. Because when the show came out, the walkers might have been a little bit more violent. They might have been a little bit fresher. The writers might have thought that they were semi-human, that they were capable of doing some semi-human things, and then maybe they just decided that's not realistic and we got to kind of dumb it down a little bit, right? Little girl picking up the doll. I mean, see, that's the part, Crystal, that I just kind of got to leave the little quirky things, because everybody in here is going to hashtag plot hole. I know it. We're going to use that plot hole for everything that we can't explain. And the only thing that I can say is it was a different show. That everything in the show is not congruent. That everything in the show is not going to make sense. When you've been doing a show for 10 plus years, you got to expect that there's just some things that aren't going to make any sense. That's kind of the thing. And I think you got to you can appreciate the show for what it is now, and you can live in the now, or you can go back and just say, well, that doesn't make any sense because it wasn't done that way. So somebody came in stream a little bit earlier. I just saw it typed up. I don't even know who it was, and said, what if the show gets canceled? So here's what's funny about that. And I think that's a good what if, right? What if? What if all the people that said the show was going to get canceled 3 years ago had to get on YouTube and make a public apology? How about that? What if that were to happen? How many people would that be? How many of you have been listening to YouTubers say The Walking Dead is going to end after season 7? How many people remember that? Show's over. They ain't going to make it. They didn't renew them yet. They don't have a contract. Such and such is going to leave. And then season 8. You guys remember where people doubled down on it? And in season 8, it was the same thing. It was like, oh, The Walking Dead's done. They're losing ratings. Can't believe that they're down to like 2.5 million people per episode. They used to be at 3.5 million. Oh my God, they're down 33%. That was after 8. And then lo and behold, we got to 9, and 9 was like half of that. It wasn't even 2.5 million. It's like 1.2 million. They're down to 1.2 million. Which if you think about it, that's a hell of a big drop-off. But they're still doing fine at 1.2, 1.3 million. It's not the end of the world. Because that's still a ton of people that are showing up, talking about the show. And look, as long as we got something to talk about, and as long as there are YouTubers out there that can do clickbait videos about Carol holding Alpha's head, then if there's views out there and people are going to click on it and watch it, then clearly we got something interesting to talk about. And the real question is, what will you do when it does end? So, Fluff, I think that's a great question. And I think it's a question that the people... I'm sorry, I might have said Fluff. If I said Fluff, I'm sorry. It was Hippo. So, Hippo, what will people do when the show ends? That question in itself divides the audience into two groups. There's the people who don't like the show, that are the first people to say, it needs to end, it's going to end. And then there's people like us that love the show that are going to say, well, I don't want it to end. It would be crushing. I love these characters. I'm having withdrawals because the show's not on. We already see that division, right? So a lot of these people that are doing the articles, it's self-inflicted. They don't have a vested interest in the show. And I think we have a vested interest in the show. So the one thing that I would say, and I don't think, look, I'm not going to tell you that if your hot supermodel girlfriend dumps you, that we are the replacement for that. I'd be naive and ignorant to say that our channel and Play Dead Live is the replacement for our fans. But I will also say that if The Walking Dead is not on, our group is going to talk about things. We're going to get together and we're going to do Mashup Mondays. We're going to do random things. We're going to do Freestyle Friday. We're going to get together and make our own game. We're going to find other shows to watch. It will end at some point. At some point. And it will be devastating when it ends. Because I don't think there's going to be another show, maybe a Game of Thrones spinoff that a good portion of our audience would be interested in. But I think based on what we did with the passage and what we try to do with Fear the Walking Dead, I think The Walking Dead is going to be in existence in some shape or form for another 10 years. I don't think the franchise dies in a year, 2 years, 3 years. And if they start rolling out different spinoffs, if it's a Daryl Dixon spinoff or it's a Negan spinoff or something along those lines, I think we'll have content and we'll have things to talk about and we'll have other things to do. And just the feedback that I get from you, I will tell you, our group is having a hell of a good time playing Play Dead Live. But some of that is because we know The Walking Dead's coming back. It's like, yes, I'm having fun playing the game. But yes, Walking Dead will be back in 2 months. So I get it. You know, we would all be in like a, constant state of depression if we knew that the show was never coming back on. But they're not going to do that to us anytime soon. Let me get to the next one. This is Gina Crockett. So, Kel, if you can add Gina Crockett to the ledger. Her what-if scenario was another one. And I don't think we've talked about this in a what-if scenario, but it has been brought up by many of you, and that's why I thought it was so good. What if the story would have been told from Negan's perspective, not Rick's perspective? And I'm going to open this up. I don't want to overtalk you guys because there's a lot of good comments that come out when we ask that question. So think about that. We followed the story of Negan with his wife and with building the Saviors and what they had to do to survive. So if that story would have been told, what are the most groundbreaking events or things that you could imagine that would have come out of that? We would have thought Rick's group was the bad guys. We would hate Rick. Our group would have been the passing enemy. So, has anyone... Let's do that. So Negan had these partnerships with everybody. He was there. He was in Alexandria. Not everybody loved it, but he kept them safe, right? And Rick's group just rolls in here from nowhere. Sets up camp in Alexandria. Starts asking a whole lot of questions about Negan. Like, why are you giving this to him? Who is this guy? All right, well, I can help you out with it. Not one time did he say, oh, hold on. Maybe we shouldn't be in Alexandria. Maybe we should go to Pennsylvania because this guy Negan already has some territory here. So Rick and group basically trespassed, killed people in their sleep, and they weren't even there long enough to stake claim on the territory. They thought that they were the group that was out there to try to police the situation and help everybody else out, even if the people didn't come asking for it. So what are your thoughts on that? And and I know Jeffrey Dean Morgan has joked about this, but now that we're talking about it kind of openly, is there enough material for a Savior's miniseries, for a Savior's backstory of what got the Saviors all together in the first place? When I think about it like that, I think it would be fairly entertaining. I don't know I want to see 3 seasons of it, but, could I watch a 6-part miniseries of how Negan built up the Saviors and Simon and Fat Joey and Dwight. Yeah, the whole crew. Simon back? Certainly, Ben. So if we look at it from Negan's perspective, I think it could fuel a miniseries. Yep, dead straight. 6 or 8 episodes certainly would be good. Like the Red Machete, only good. I was not I know. I'm sorry. Red Machete got some awards. I wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of that, and I wasn't a fan of the Fear the Walking Dead, going through the tunnel, Survivor on the plane crashing, getting on a raft. You know, if that girl would have lasted like more than 2 episodes, I would have liked it. I felt really bad because, you know, here she is on a plane, the plane crashes, and then she's on a raft and she's trying to get on the boat and they just kill her off. I'm thinking like, she might have been the person to save the Fear the Walking Dead franchise. You're right, Emmy. We are the villain in someone else's story. An Ozzy spinoff. You know what? Okay, yeah, before we get into like the main topic of tonight, what spinoff series would you guys like to see? Would interest you? I mean, I think we're going to be limited as far as content. A Fat Joey miniseries. Why did I even ask? You know what? I don't. All the villains' origins. Abraham. Yeah, Abraham and Eugene could certainly, you know, see a little bit of that. You know, if we're going to go with characters, though, like Ezekiel and Abraham, I think one filler episode of a backstory would be fine. We got Brian super chatting. Brian, I got to tell you, I plan on being a big fan. And I'll tell you a couple reasons why, but let me tell you kind of how my fandom works. I'm not a head over heels ride or die, hype it up if I don't feel it type of person. And I think that most people here that have watched for 3 years can probably vouch for that. So with Fear the Walking Dead, I love that they were doing something different. I watched Fear for about 3 years, and it felt like I'd swallowed a beehive. I don't know any other way to explain it except it was excruciating pain. And then the crossover happened, and we introduced new characters with John, Morgan crossover. We know Dwight's coming, and I'm excited. And even though I struggled through Fear, I put on this headset, and I talked to my group, and I said, guys, ladies, let's get this thing together. Fear is going to be good. And it was going good. I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the June and John hugs and kisses, and it got a little sappy for me. I wanted it to be a little bit more Fear, but it was good. Just wasn't kind of my taste. And then Fear kind of punched me in the gut again last year. So I say all that to kind of get to the new series. So I'm very excited about the new series for several reasons. One, I love the perspective. You know, here we are talking about what if we saw the world through Negan's eyes. What if we saw the world through people's eyes that have always grown up behind walls that didn't have to deal with what we started watching the show for? So think about that very concept. It's unique, it's different, and there's a curious nature to it. of us knowing the fear that existed because we watched the show, but the characters not having any idea what fear is out there except what they've been told. So that interests me. And then the fact that you're in the future, so you can just plant all these Easter eggs, whether it's an old man, Daryl Dixon, or maybe somebody had a kid and we meet a character named Coco, something along those lines that I think as a writer or a producer, I would just eat that up. Like, let's just throw the Walking Dead audience a bone. Let's give them something that's just going to have them talking. Because that's what we love to do. We take these theories and a lot of times we make up our own. Which is fine. There's a lot of theories that we talk about that never come to fruition that are still fun to talk about. But to have a show that you got one that is in the past right now with fear, you got one that we consider the present, because fear is still behind where we're at with The Walking Dead, and then you got the future, you got all three elements covered. And I think it's neat not to cross over characters, but to cross over concepts. Like, what's going to happen with Morgan? Okay, when this helicopter comes down and saves Morgan next season, is Morgan going to see Rick? Is Morgan going to be in the movies? If Michonne going to cross over? Was Wes a part of this group? And then so many good questions that if they don't incorporate that into the new series, I think it'll be a big miss. Now, if it becomes Twilight Part 2, I'm not saying that Twilight was bad, but I'm saying I just don't think our fans are built for that. So if that's what it's going to be, I don't know that they're going to go out there and put the show together and attract new viewers from ages 15 to 21. If that's their demo, then we'll see. I mean, I would say our demographic in my streams are 35 to 65. I mean, we probably got a 30-year range. And, not to say that we don't have some 20-year-olds, some 25-year-olds, but I would say 35 to 65 is probably most of the people that are in the stream. 90% of our viewers are going to fall in that category. The ones, and possibly some of the ones that don't, are gamers. They're gamers that, watched me for 5 or 6 years that might have been 16 or 17-year-old gamers, and now they're early 20s. But great question. Absolutely great question. I'm excited about it. And we'll be talking about it every week. And if you guys know, it's only going to be a few Sundays that we don't have Walking Dead content. I mean, we're going to have 3 shows next year and hopefully a movie by the end of the year. So there's going to be plenty of stuff for us to break down, analyze, and we do a ton of streams to talk about it. So the last what if, well, probably won't be the last because I'm sure you guys are going to chime in with a few other ones, which is perfectly fine. But the main topic, and this is the one that'll probably cause the most controversy, especially if it's taken out of context, would have been, what if Negan dies? And the original question, and Kel, can you add Crystal Newfield to the Kills Coins? Because her original question was, what if Negan had already died? Maybe he died he should have died in the sanctuary when they got overrun. But Eugene is a genius. If he would have died, what would the story have looked like? And if he does die, and Julie, so this is interesting. So Julie Red Fair McGuire says, if he dies, I will quit watching. So ironically, Julie, let me ask you this question. In all seriousness. So, Julie, if Negan would have died in the fight with Simon, and Simon would have taken over as the villain, at that point in time, would you have quit watching? And I would say, probably not. And most people probably won't quit watching now, be perfectly honest with you. They want to see the next line. But look, I've heard, if Rick leaves the show, I'm going to quit watching. If Rick dies, I'm going to quit watching. If Glenn dies, I'm going to quit watching. I've kind of heard it all. But my point to that is that when Negan was bashing in Abraham and Glenn's heads, if he would have died the very next episode, 99% of the audience would not have even made that comment. So, because people continued to watch, they were able to endear Negan and create his character. And it would be like that with anything else. So I'm going to tie in Crystal's question with my very own after I get to Commodore Super Chat. If you take over writing, where or how would you spin off? Oh boy. Crawfish, we could have this conversation probably for hours, to be honest. Because there are some things that I would have done that I know for a fact. And I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but I can give you guys one example right now. If I was the showrunner of something that was completely unnecessary that would have been perfect. So, number one, the greatest contribution, if I was writing The Walking Dead, that I would have ever made, one of the most senseless deaths of all time, was Negan killing Simon. Negan should have exiled Simon, and Simon should have crossed over to Fear the Walking Dead. It would have been a win-win. We didn't, you know what? You only gained a couple little brownie points for Negan killing Simon. I get it. I'm the tough guy. I'm going to change my arc. You shouldn't have killed Jadis's people. Now I got to choke you to death. I get it. I get that there's that recovery. But the only reason why they had to kill Simon, the only reason why they had to kill Carl, the only reason why they had to do these things is because they made Negan too damn brutal in 7-1. If they didn't make him quite so unforgivable and quite so brutal, they would not have been left with the challenge of, oh my God, Andy's leaving in a year. We got to tie this story up really, really quickly. We got to get to the end of the Whisperer War. What can we do to get everybody to understand that Negan is a changed man? So then it's like this, and you got to completely rewrite his character that fast. So it was cause and effect, and I mentioned that for a couple years, and I'm never going to get away from it. I don't care what the writers say. It was a big, big mistake to do it that way, and I think it cost them some very good characters. But think about the one thing that Fear the Walking Dead has been missing is a true, legit, bona fide villain, and Simon would have been that in every sense of the word. So Crawfish super chatting, it says, "I've got time. If it takes 4 hours, so be it." And we can break this down. And Crawfish, we don't have to, it doesn't all have to be on this stream. We can talk about it in some of the future streams. But so there, I don't think I would have made a Simon spinoff, but I certainly would have crossed Simon over. A true spinoff, look, Oceanside, I think if you're going to talk about a spinoff, you have to first look at the spinoffs that would not work. There's no way that could happen. Who would people tune in to watch? Oceanside is weak. But could I have a Negan spinoff? Absolutely. In fact, Negan is probably one of the few characters on the show that, as much as we like Rick Grimes, and now Negan is not Negan anymore. He's kind of Nick. He's half Negan, half Rick. The redemption tour of Negan probably would not be a bad spinoff. of doing what Rick did in the beginning. And look, it's probably a repeat story, but what new stories are you going to tell? I mean, we got the Commonwealth, but after the Commonwealth, I don't agree that The Walking Dead is going to end after 12, but I do agree that the comic content is gone after 12. So they're either going to fold it up and say this franchise will not survive on originality. The other franchises, we can tell a different story. Look, anything is possible. But this franchise has more star power. This franchise has the ability to mix it up. But I think a bigger question, Crawfish, would be, where do they go after Commonwealth? If you're a showrunner, what do you do next? What are the viewers going to tune in to see? Are they going to tune in to see the group moves into another state and they start building up again and they start planting strawberries again? Because if they do that, it's going to be Fear the Walking Dead, because we're going to be looking for the next villain. So Crawfish says there's 6 years of gap that could be filled in. There is, but I think for a Walking Dead fan, it'll be semi-interesting for us to see that. Because the big question in that 6-year gap is what happens to Rick Grimes. And that's more than likely going to be told through the movie. So I don't know. I mean, we're going to get mixed answers. We ask the question. If I asked a group and I said, does anybody really care what happened to Daryl in those 6 years? Then, the true fan, yeah, I want to see it. But honestly, do you really, if nothing eventful happened, a filler episode or two, maybe, but it just doesn't seem like that much stuff happened except for with Rick. And then there's your movie. And the thing that we complain about the most, I think, is that it follows too closely to the comic. But if it didn't follow closely to the comic, then there's a huge risk. And I mean, I'm looking at a couple questions. So no, the scars, it's my understanding that the scars were two things. Daryl and Michonne Daryl had issues as a child with the scars, but also the other scars were from when the kids tied him up. So Daryl was abused by his father, and then those little bastards tied him up and tortured him. So I'm good with the scars. That's all the backstory I need. Yeah, little Winnie and that group of people, remember when they had them hung up and they were torturing them? Yeah, there was some dark stuff that happened. They were creepy, man. Walking through the little school, tying them up, torturing them. But, I mean... But Gene, I think that's I mean, that's a little bit of it. Let's say they never told that story. So, yeah, I mean, could we go back 6 years of history and find that out? That's one event. Is that worthy of a spinoff or even a season? Even if they didn't tell us, I don't know that there's enough content in that to really kind of drive it. And, maybe they ran across another group, or I'm sure they did. I'm sure there were a couple groups, but nothing that were so devastating that they didn't survive it. And so maybe to a degree, we're just digging, like we're searching for, well, what is the next thing? If we don't have The Walking Dead, what's the next thing that we can have? And here's what I'm going to tell you guys. If you want my honest, unfiltered opinion, let me know right now by giving this video a thumbs up, and I'll tell you exactly what to do that'll ensure that The Walking Dead exists after the Commonwealth. So if you guys want my answer to that question, I'm gonna give it to you. Let's see. A couple people are saying, lay it on us. It's a magical formula. Okay. Here it is. You might not have heard this from any other stream. So what I'm going to give you is completely brand new, groundbreaking, but there's a process to it. So I need your buy-in. All right. It's a couple of simple rules here. Number 1, watch the show. Number 2, stop supporting clickbait YouTubers and other people like Forbes magazine that continues to write crap articles about the show ending with no viable sources. When you see that crap and your curiosity and you want to click and you want to feed into it, smack yourself in the face and say, I'm not going to watch this crappy article or story of the same person that said the same thing over and over and over again about the show ending to try to get a few views. Stop feeding into it, because they're not going to cancel your show if you stop worrying about them canceling the show. If people are watching and it's entertaining, they're going to spend more money on the show, more money on the actors, more money on the special effects. They're going to pay the writers more money, and they're going to sit in their little writer room, and they're going to say, you know what, after the Commonwealth, we're bringing the circus. We're bringing the ghost. We're bringing this. We're bringing that. They're going to come up with creative content for all of the people that want to watch the show. Or you can be part of that problem and go over there and start bitching and whining about it and saying they're going to cancel the show because such and such, we've got this covered. Heard it from a friend who, heard it from a friend who. You didn't hear nothing. You made that crap up. And when you made it up, a lot of other people wrote an article about it. It has zero credibility. Stop reading their articles and stop supporting them. In fact, go over there and say, you're full of crap. I'm not watching it anymore. We're going to talk about the show. Watch Talking Dead. Go to Comic-Cons. Go to Walker Stalkers. Send them Twitter messages and tell them you love their performance and support the show. You do all of those things, then it ain't going anywhere. Because they're going to make a boatload of money, not from you and me, but from the advertisers. Because if we watch Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Kleenex, Truvada for Prep, whatever else is out there is going to pay them money, so we watch the TV show. And then they don't stop. Simple formula. We are our own worst enemies. We make it happen or we stop it from happening. But that's all on us. There you go. A little mini rant. Had to get that out tonight. You know what? We've been doing long streams all week long. I think I just had that bottled up stress that I just had to say it. We're going to have some fun with it. Commodore, did you go back and listen to Queen, Princess of the Universe? Did you look up Major League Peel poster? Where'd Steph go? Can I get one additional PDL bag? It's a lot of questions in one super chat. No. Working an awful lot and additional PDL bag. You mean like a pack? No. I mean, I don't have any. It's like, those are all good questions. I need a timer. You know what I need? Crawfish. So here it is. All right, I'll tell you what I will do. Because the stream is going to end in a couple minutes. I am going to do all of those things in my spare time tonight, which I'm going to create some spare time. And we'll be here tomorrow night. So, I put 3 packs up there just to kind of keep it creative. But I'll do 6 packs tomorrow night because I know you guys really want to jump on a skier and then some dead dimes and some other things. If you have a topic that will piss Walking Dead fans off, congratulations, you have an audience. Yeah, I mean, Dark Star, I think there is some, as long as people are talking about you mentality, right? If you have people talking, maybe they forget that you were just trying to piss them off. I guess that's the only thing I can think of. Just throw an article out there. And ours tonight, what if Negan dies? I think it's a very straightforward topic. If he would have died, then there would have been a certain feel to it. But what if Negan dies in the second half? Many of you already have given your response to that. Like, you're attached to him. He's a star of the show. I don't think they would kill him just for the sake of killing him. You need star power, especially with Denai leaving. I mean, you're going to lose Michonne. It doesn't make sense to have Jeffrey Dean Morgan walk unless truly you do want to add spinoffs. Negan could carry a spinoff. That's pretty bold. Lynn says she thinks that Negan will die in the second half. Let me throw that out there to the group. I'm going to say, Lynn, I'm going to say no chance. I think it's like less than 1%. How many people here, not whether you want it to happen, because I know if you're voting with your heart, you're going to say no way. How many people legitimately think that the writers would go in that direction? Lynn, I think there's a couple reasons why they couldn't or why they shouldn't. One is because you don't know what the effect is going to be when Michonne leaves. I mean, Michonne's got star power. And I think you have to be careful with bumping off too many people at one time. Hey, early on, I said in the second half I thought that Rosita would die, that maybe she'd become a Pike. I'm going to walk that back. Thinking about the long-term implications on the show, it might not be bad to pay her for another half a season just to see if you start killing off all these big names. It's going to feel like a new show to the viewers, and I think you lose a lot of customers with that. That could be a checkout point for a few people. I mean, put yourself in that position. If I'm going to be completely extreme here, but I have to do hypotheticals to really kind of get into it. Sometimes I rant, sometimes I do hypotheticals. So if the show killed Michonne, Daryl, King Ezekiel, Judith, and Negan, and left everybody else on the show, how likely would you be to continue watching the show? How excited would you be about the show if they killed those 5 people? And that's kind of my point. Is I agree, Brian, it would be lame, but I want you to think in extremes. I want you to think like, okay, there's no chance all that's going to happen. But then we start to look down and say, well, what is the chance that 2 of them could die? Maybe Negan, maybe Michonne. Maybe Rosita, maybe Michonne. And, so on and so forth. But the writers are not doing anything to piss us off. The writers are not doing anything to isolate us. They're not doing anything to try to get us to stop watching. Sometimes people want to leave. Sometimes people do other shows. And they got to, ad-lib it, get it together as quick as possible. But the one thing I can assure you, they're not killing people for the sake of killing people. There really is a strategy behind it, even though we might have felt that way when it was Carl. There was an intent behind it. It might not work out the way that was intended, but it wasn't done to make the audience angry. And because who would want to lose their fans? I mean, they're just not trying to bleed the show until people stop watching. But clearly, there have been mistakes that have been made. But I still say it's a super strong show, and they're doing the best they can to keep us here each and every week. And if we're going to do our part, we need to tune in each and every week. It's a give and take. So as long as we're here talking about it, we're here watching it, it ain't going anywhere. With that, everybody, we are 1 hour and 6 minutes, and I did promise a shorter stream tonight. And hey, right at an hour, I'm okay with that. Let me give a couple shout outs. Tomorrow, I think everybody will be regrouped, recharged. We'll be ready to go. I had to get that rant in there like midway through. I might go back and just play that over and over again. Like, was I really that angry during that clip? Because I'm a super happy, nice guy. But yeah, sometimes I get a little fired up. Tomorrow night, we're going to do our bold predictions. And that is always a lot of fun. I have a blast with that. So be here tomorrow night at 9:30. Let me give a few more shout outs. Patron Army, thank you so much for everything that you guys do. PDL sponsors. Hopefully you guys got a chance to check out the Facebook fan page. I got my little Walking Dead set up. And I got my Will the Bill Fireman Finney trading card fresh off the press. So first print of that card. There are 2 additional ones. We got some art in the works, as I mentioned. We got characters that are representing each class. So you're going to see more trading cards, more content. We're going to do a super big pack opening next Friday on the 20th, probably a 36. Crawfish asked about that. Could he get additional bags? Could he get additional packs? Tomorrow night we'll have 6 up. Freestyle Friday, we are storming the castle. And then next Friday, we will do a huge, huge pack opening. So give everybody a chance to stock up on their dead dimes, their gear, as we get closer and closer to the go live date. So save $5 between now and the 20th and then get in on that pack opening. It might be one of the biggest interactive pack openings that you ever see on YouTube. Actually, I don't know if that's ever been done before. I think our pack openings are pretty unique. I know some people are doing their own pack openings, but we're doing them and getting involved in, everybody's a part of it. So Ben Stevenson says, best group on the information superhighway. This is the best group because you guys make it the best group. So really quickly, tomorrow night, bold predictions at 9:30. Friday night, Freestyle Friday at 8. And then we're doing the largest online, on YouTube, storming the castle, real-time role-playing game probably ever. Because I don't know if it's ever been done, so there might be a Guinness World Book of Records thing that we got more people role-playing at simultaneously. It's going to be amazing. Saturday morning, we're going to have coffee with Kills. I'm going to hang out with you guys. Sunday night, we'll do our special edition, 8 o'clock, talk about The Walking Dead. And we're here at 9:30 every other night of the week. So thank you guys for everything that you guys do. Moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. Let me shout out our super fans. Can the green team give me some quick emojis? Where's Kimberly M. and where's Crystal, the singer chick Gore? Want to give a lot of love to our super fans. Our channel is made up of super fans. It's made up of super patrons. It's made up of super sponsors. It's made up of super members. And it's made up of people that are here every single night watching our show. So everybody else, I've got 60 more seconds Give me a 999 in chat right now, and I'm going to individually shout out and call out as many people as I possibly can. We don't do this as often as we used to, but I will never stop doing it. So I want to say what's up to Shane Yutzy, Ron Burgundy Moore, Gina Crockett, Tammy Heitzman, Rick Grimes, Ben Stevenson, Matt Burkett, Brian, Taya, thank you so much. Julie J. Julie J is going to be a priest. I love it. Play that class well. Little Chicago 721. Tommy Manbun, a.k.a. Tommy the Tank. Trigger Caloris, Julia Muse, Roxanne Dunlap. Ragman Racing, Hippo in the House, Red Fair McGuire, Samantha Coombs, Miss the Ninja, Dark Star, Angela Lewis, Rebecca Mendez, Amanda Tomlin, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Diana C., Heart of Nixie, Marsha Cooper, Dead Shred 65, Karen Reif. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here, being a part of our streams, and making it the information superhighway, as my Tin Man said. Thanks so much. Who else we got? Commodore Super Chat, can I be Andre the Giant this Friday night? Absolutely. Anybody opposed to Commodore being Andre the Giant? I'm down for that. It's going to be a battle royal, free-for-all, trampling people. I don't want to disappoint a lot of you guys, but the truth is a lot of you guys are going to die in the first 5 minutes. It is going to be as real swarm, stampede, running of the bulls in the first few minutes. But as the herd gets thinned down, I think you're going to find some strategy. It's going to be a little bit cutthroat. It's going to be a little bit dog eat dog. If I can think of any other cliches to describe selfishness, then I'll get them in there as quick as possible. But everybody's going to get a chance to play. So show up Friday night, and we're going to make it a blast. So thanks. If I missed you guys in the shout out, I will catch you next time. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you at 9:30 tomorrow. Peace.